So if you have one or two questions for him, and then we can switch to the floor. Is there anybody who wants to? First of all, thank you so much for this presentation, because I think you've been trained at Hollywood, because there was everything, the science, the emotions, the drama, and I was about to write you a check for the project, but I forgot my checkbook. Thank you so much, and if you have any questions, please, for Uma, Mr. Sarraj.
Yeah, brilliant presentation, Omar. Thank you for this. I think you've, at least for me, reconciled me with all this Great Wall story, because I've heard about it several times over the years. Now I'm just question very quickly, because when you look, as you said, and the size and the ambition of this initiative, you know, I am part of those who said, well, this very, very little chance that this will ever happen, to be honest. And then I've heard stories about it. Then you mentioned something that intrigued me. You said, I think you told a number, the cost. It was about 500 million, you said?
For 4%.
Yeah. So actually, my question to you, if we look at the whole thing, as you said, from Senegal to Djibouti, and we want to put a number on it for the 8 years. I guess some have done this exercise of looking at the cost. Just starting from that, what would that be, a real cost?
I think the first budget that was allocated to the program.
I'm not talking about budget here.
No, it was $20 billion.
Yeah, so because it has several lives and several iterations, how many players, and everybody has thrown on it, the UN, the AU, everybody has stepped in. But if we've got a step back, because we're talking about the complexity, and put a value on the thing over the 8 years, what that cost would be.
If there's another question, so we can wrap it up.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And actually, I'm also a graduate of the School of Collective Intelligence. Nice to hear from you again. So when you, during your talk, you mentioned about Acacia mellifera. That's why I have the question. And I remember from my first degree that herdsmen use this tree as fodder for their animals as well to feed them. And the goal is sustainability, resilience. So, and to give an example, in Nigeria, we have a lot of herdsmen problem attacking people's farm. It's not, most of the time it's not deliberate, but they need to survive. They need to feed their animals. But now they have trees that they can use to feed their animals. So what are you thinking about the emergent behavior that can come from this? I mean, in terms of educating people and all sorts. So.
Thank you. I'll start with the last question, that I'll move backwards. When you look at the slide in, it's all about, first things you do is about creating the basic investment. Basic investment is energy, because energy bring in technology. Technology bring in water. It's all about fixing the problem of access to water. If you have no water, you have no forest, you have no life, you have no agriculture, you have nothing. So it's about fixing the problem of water. Water, when it's ran only 2 months, you would have really to have technology. Stocking technology, distribution technology, irrigation technology, but extraction technology. But the technology cannot run without energy. That's why we start with energy. It's a risk mitigation. It's solving a problem by breaking it down to simple questions. You may hear about every kind of symposium and meetings about water accessibility. Well, water, you cannot access it without energy. The problem of energy needs to be fixed first. First thing first. That's number one. That's why we keep planting trees, because we keep the green wall, we jump into planting trees, we never look at all the risk that is involved. Then once you have water, the second things you need to do is fixing people. Fixing people is making sure that the animals that they have access to food. isn't it? The reason why there's a lot of conflict, because people, herders actually attacking farmers' farm, is because they have nothing to feed the animals, the livestock. Now, if they able to grow it on their own as a community, in able to have their own fences where they can put in the animals and they have access to water and food, you fix the problem. You really fix the problem. The whole chain is designed to fix every one problem because it's circle. Everything has an impact to the next chain. It's about building the chain. So that's fix really the problem. It's not about negotiating. I have seen people going out there negotiating, but well, it's happened again next year. It's like a fire. It's like the bushfire. We keep reacting every single year the same way since 1970, 1960, 1950. It doesn't solve the problem. And we keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. Come on, it won't happen. We have to look at things and simplify it and bring in simple solutions that people can implement. The moment people can copy the model and implement it on their own, you build an industry. It's all about building an industry. But if you're the only one who can think about it and do it, you stand-alone solution. It will never fix the humanities problem. We have to build models that people can replicate and copy. That's what collective intelligence is about. Now, when I come to the cost of it, 2006, 2023, $500 million in Senegal, 4 to 18%. I don't know, because in order for you to give a number, you have to have a specific objective. This is no objective. 545 kilometers, 15 kilometers wide. Well, I want you to show me the line. Because even the definition, you're not able to fix it. They said its weight is run between 100 and 400 millimeters per year. That keeps fluctuating every single year. So it's really, where is it? The problem is with the definition itself. Now, when it comes to the cost of it, the cost of not doing it is even bigger than the cost of doing it. The cost of not doing it is really drought. The cost of not doing it is insecurity. The cost of not doing it is not having an opportunity to create jobs for our young men and women. Guess what? You have social pressure, you have economic pressure, and then your system collapses. Not doing the green wall is really leading our countries to collapse. It's the only solution we have right now. It's a sustainability solution, it's a security solution, and it's also an opportunity to create a lot of things. If you don't do it, look at the countries that today have insecurity problems. You have it in Burkina. You have insecurity problem. Mali, you have insecurity problem. Chad, you have insecurity problem. You cannot even move that much. And whenever you have insecurity, you have a lot of risk involved. And the one thing you need to take care of is stability. Stability cannot happen if you have no food. Stability cannot happen if you have no water. Stability cannot happen if you cannot provide employment. It's the basic. Now, you can make any comment if you want, but stability will never happen where there's no food, no security, no food, no opportunity. That's the bottom line. The cost of it is the last 15 years. There was no harmonized model, there was no system. Any nonprofit organization can come in and implement it with their own guidelines and so on. Any financial partner can implement and do whatever they want. Any government agency can implement. We have to model it and build one system where people think the same way and people act, and we can benefit from your own experience. You probably there's some nonprofit organization that's been around for 30 years. They have a knowledge to capitalize. Are we going to reinvent the wheel? They know how to work with these communities. They know how to make impact. Because one thing, I hate to say it, but we have to quit the options of proving the expenses. No, it's not the way to go. It is proving the impact. The impact we have on the ground, the impact we have on the communities is more important than the expenses that we do. That's really important. And I do believe that the 500 million that we expanded for the last 15 years, if we had a model that was built as an impact, as a main objective, And I believe that we can go halfway. That's why this project is built for $1 billion in Senegal for the next 8 years. And I do believe that we can succeed it. You know why? When you have a clear vision and you have a system, you can make it. If you have one store selling coffee, donuts, sugar, you don't need to memorize where the donut is, the sugar is, because it's one store. You know what everything is. You don't have a system. You don't need to have a system. But you have 1,000 stores all over Morocco. Then you have to have the same space for coffee, the same price for donuts, the same price for sugar at the same space. Then if you have your employee that is not available in Rabat, you can get someone out there and then work on the same system, because the register is the same, the items are the same, the package is the same, the price is the same, the process is the same. This is about building 70 different locations in the green wall. If you divide 545 by 70 different locations, with a diameter of 15 kilometers wide, you complete the green wall. It's about building one model every 30 kilometers. You make it happen. Let's break it. If you look at the green wall as a big line, you will never make it. But if you break it as a community with cultural realities and concepts, soil quality, so on, you build it in 70 different things, then you have a model, and then you can make it happen. Thank you. I got to run. Sorry.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you so much, Sama.
Thank you.
Thank
Well, just okay. So thank you, Omar, and have a safe trip, and hope to see you soon. When Professor Bruno Gérard asked you a question earlier, and he asked how many of you have worked with an economist and anthropologist and so on. Only 2 or 3 of you, and I don't want to mention that it's the only old people who raised their hands. So I hope that next year, by this time, if we ask the same question, the answer will be different. Because we are in the week of complexity, and one thing that Professor Gérard mentioned is the science of convergence, meaning that you cannot have a small view on your own field and ignoring the rest. We need to work together with each in their specialty field, and this is the only way, as Mr. Omar said, Omar Ba, one of the reasons why the project didn't succeed so far with the Great Green Wall is because we had people working each one from their corner with no sharing of the point of views and the experiences. But if you take a sociologist, an anthropologist, maybe an architect, maybe a climate specialist, and all these people, if they bring all the knowledge together, this is the way the Great Green Wall would succeed. Thank you, Professor Gérard, for coming back. So we really have 1 or 2 minutes left. If you have questions for Professor Gérard, please feel free.
Well, thank you so much, Bruno, for the very nice presentation. And you did show it's really a complex thing. Now, of course, complexity, in the system, basically the production systems are a lot of things that are interconnected. But when it comes to transferring technologies to farmers, usually the specialists would say go with one simple, technology so that you can have, impact. Otherwise, farmers will not be able really to, digest the whole thing. So, what would you say about that complexity versus simple thing when it comes to farmers?
I can tell you that. Oh yeah, another question. If it's the same question, yes.
Thank you so much, Professor Bruno. My name is William Akaza, and I got some interest with your presentation. Maybe I will not waste much of the time, but my question is from the whole presentation. Yes, I appreciate. I see actually a book edited by Professor Bruno Gérard, and I'll be having one chapter there. So my question goes like this. Now we have information, and we have the knowledge. That information, is it actually in the scientific papers? Is it actually in the hands of the farmers? or is it also in the way that farmers can transform it to use it? Because there's this gap that you have indicated between the farmers. Some are working for the farmers and others are working with the farmers.
So two questions that somehow connected, in fact, and it's about knowledge, about solutions, complex solution. Mustafa, if you can listen to my response, I think, farmers are dealing with complexity every day. So I think the thing is that it's a blueprint, silver bullet type of solutions that are not correct. So it's co-construction. I think Omar Ba's presentation was fantastic because it does relate the thing, and the link that between research and development. We need to connect knowledges, and I agree with you, the knowledge needs to be connected. Co-construction of knowledge is very important. Proof of concepts on things is very important to generate feedback loops. I would say that yes and no. I think sometimes solutions are complicated, sometimes they are simple. Component solutions, you can deconstruct a problem into simpler bits of solution. What Omar did in his presentation, it's exactly that, and sequencing. Sequencing is very important as well. How do you sequence interventions? I think it was brilliant, and I wish he was presenting that when there was a call for the proposal for the green wall, because I believe that not much of it is in the proposals that were submitted by UM6P. And I think it's very important that we listen. Listen from people to the field, bright people like Umar, understanding the problem, caring about the livelihood of people. That was his objective number one. I think we should really redesign probably the way we are working with the Great Green Wall in Senegal. We want to be involved, but we need to bring an additional value. We just don't want to come with technologies like that flying out of our labs. And I think they are able to articulate the demand much better than we can. I didn't answer all your questions, I'm sure. But we pass by my office and we can discuss.
For sure, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, everybody. And as I mentioned, repeating what Professor Gérard said, we need to have a convergent point of view on going from different fields. So we have 10 minutes break, and then we can listen to Raphaël Liogier and Alexandre Morer. Raphaël Liogier is a sociologist, and Alexandre Morer is a computer scientist, and they will talk about intelligence and what makes intelligence. So if you want to join us for the next talk, you're welcome.